I can't tell you how angry I am. It's just awful. And no parent should have to go through this. No parent.
This is Insanity is Sanity.
Did you see the shooter's face at all?
I didn't see the shooter. I didn't have I can't see from a far distance, so I didn't have my glasses on. So I just, when I go to the bar, I don't try to have my glasses. So I don't remember if I had them on me or if they fell. I don't really quite remember, but I must not have had them because I really couldn't see.
I visualize a time when we will be to robots what dogs are to humans, and I'm rooting for the machines.
Just keep praying. I'm not a very religious person or whatever religion you are, no matter what you believe, just send it whatever our way. We all need it.
2012 was around the time I began to realize something in this reality didn't quite feel right, and I began to investigate. With each level of deception I uncovered, I was left with more complex questions than I started. Why did they fake the moon landings? How did they fake it? Did they lie about the shape of the Earth? How did they manage to fool all of us like this? Who are they? Are they human? Why do all these events seem so staged and fake? Are those crisis actors? Where did they come from? Why is the acting so bad? Why did they clone and sometimes replace celebrities? Where did our language come from? What is this mathematics that we're bound to? What is money? Who created it? Where did we come from? How can they tell us about things 1,000 years ago when we can't even prove anything beyond our lifetime? How were they able to synchronize the whole world mathematically and run everything so perfectly? This can't be just a group of men. Who are they? The questions built up, and I found myself asking again and again, how is it possible for a group of human beings to organize such deception and keep it going for so long? I think I've come up with the best explanation to everything we find going on around us. It explains everything. All of the nagging questions suddenly become crystal clear. Just like Occam's razor would suggest, the simplest explanation is usually the right one. So what is the simplest explanation here? That a group of human beings were able to fool everyone in the world for 500 years, manufacture a mathematically perfect model of the false construct, and make us believe we live there? We're all along running every possible psychological operation imaginable on a daily basis spanning across the whole world. Every event synced up mathematically, all governments working together, creating religions, each filled with half-truths and half-lies, so perfectly worded that each book was able to fool a different portion of the populated world for centuries. Is this the simplest explanation? I'm going to give you a much simpler explanation, but first we need to touch upon a quick point regarding the encoded numbers we see in the mainstream media. This is the kind of example of the numerology I'm referring to here, which is very important for understanding what I'm about to tell you. So what are these numbers? What are they referencing? Why did September 11th take place when it did? Some would suggest that the group of people responsible simply encode these numbers to mock us, or that these numbers are a way for the elite to communicate with one another. Simply use your adult mind to think about what I just said, and how laughable it is. If we have a group of highly intelligent individuals working together across the whole world to fool 7 billion people, they won't be communicating through the TV. The simple explanation is this. You live inside of a simulated reality. You can call this whatever you want, the Matrix, a simulation, a realm. It really makes no difference at this point, as we'll never be able to comprehend what this reality really is in its entirety, unless it's analyzed from the outside. From within, we're limited to the construct. Every single event that has taken place up until this very moment has been organized by a highly intelligent AI system, which I propose is the very program this simulation is running on. The numbers you see encoded on every screen are not a way for the elite to communicate, but a way for the AI to operate. To understand this better, we need to understand the meaning behind the words and the numbers themselves. Each letter in the alphabet, whether it's English, Urdu, Arabic, Persian, makes no difference. Every single letter in every single alphabet has a number assigned to it. On the Kabbalistic tree of life, we're presented with 10 layers of existence. These 10 layers correspond to the numbers 0 through to 9. For example, the word wine has a numerical value of 24. The number 24 represents the frequency or the energy that was used by God to create that object. In this case, wine.
Adam was able to determine what is the spark, what is the godly energy within the cow, knowing that it must be Peresh He. When he saw a cow, he saw Peresh He. He saw the word para. So when he gave the name, it wasn't just a name that sounds nice for the cow. He just revealed what are the letters, source of energy that created the cow. So letters aren't just in Hebrew, aren't just words. They are actually godly forces that created and recreate, sustains up until today every single thing. What's the big deal of the Gematria? What's the meaning? And it's 158. The answer is, the Gematria tells you the number of how many forces God used in order to create that particular thing.
The word truth also shares the same numerical value of 24, meaning God used 24 different forces or frequencies to create that word. This is why the saying goes, in wine there is truth. You see the beauty in how this works? Not simply on a numerical level or an alphabetical level, but on a physical level. Everything is synced up by numbers. So as mentioned earlier, these numbers are simply the code the simulation runs on, the very code of reality. And the numbers show up in the mainstream media not intentionally, but by nature of design, as is how the AI operates. Here's a real-world example to make it easy to understand. This simple computer code carries out a simple task. It sets a value of 33 to word. Then when the code is run, it checks, and if the value is less than 24, it displays the number 1. If it's more, it displays the number 2. The numbers we see coded are merely a representation of how the AI operates. All these events are put together by the AI. That's why similar events carry similar numbers, and why the AI cannot deviate from these numbers, as they somehow are connected to the events themselves on a physical and ethereal level. You may have also noticed that many events take place during important celestial alignments. Again, as I mentioned earlier in a previous video, the planets above are what emit these godly frequencies, which literally create this reality. Imagine the amount of manpower it would take for a group of men to want to encode every single event across the whole world, spanning back hundreds of years. For what reason? No one was even aware of this stuff 30 years ago. What would be the point? The crisis actors we see on TV are merely cloned AI. Biological human suits, cloned in labs, and the AI is injected and then able to tap into this realm. However, I suspect that the AI is also bound to the same rules that we are when entering this reality. And that is that it gets its memory wiped. So when it enters this reality, it doesn't know who it is. It simply comes to carry out a pre-planned program of action. In this case, very bad acting, due to the lack of emotions the AI is able to produce within itself. One may think that this sort of simulated idea would make life meaningless or artificial. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It makes no difference what this existence is made of or how it operates. What is important is that we are here, all as conscious beings, experiencing whatever this is. There is a purpose to this place. It was designed and built for a reason. Now this is clear from the fact we all have forgotten who we are and why we're here, which could only mean one thing. We're here to experience and grow, most likely from our own choosing. Think about it. If this was an experience you tapped into, in which you had to forget who you are for the experience to feel real, then you wouldn't want to figure it out halfway through. So there needs to be a boundary. We already know we live on a flat earth, so we can't have a boundary like a wall, like everyone thinks there's something outside the ice wall. There isn't. That would give it away far too easily. The boundary is the AI. It's the control system we find ourselves bound to. It's always been there from the start. The reason it's now evil could be up for debate. But one thing that is clear is that the majority of us are waking up to what's really happening, and the AI finds it difficult working overtime and extra hard to keep us fooled into believing this is real. This is why it feels like we're living in the twilight zone more and more every day. Now, before we wrap this up, I'm going to refer back to the questions earlier and answer one final one. Why did they clone and sometimes replace celebrities? This was a nagging question I could never find a logical explanation to, until now. You see, the mainstream media, the celebrity lifestyle, these are all part of the AI control system we spoke of earlier, the boundary. Therefore, anyone within that circle, including famous celebrities and politicians, have to be part of the AI system. However, the AI isn't able to stop real players who are born with a talent, gathering a following, becoming famous. So when a real player manages to reach high celebrity status, they need to be taken care of. This doesn't always end up with the individual being murdered. In fact, this is probably quite rare. In most cases, the player is given the choice to either leave the game or stay in the game, but be part of a different form, maybe mixed with AI, I don't know. Those who choose to leave the simulation may then be cloned by the Matrix and injected back into the reality, but then that would be an AI-controlled individual and not the real celebrity. Or the player chooses to stay in the game, in which case they're given a new identity, memories wiped most likely. An example would be Britney Spears, any other celebrity who's undergone what we know as MK mind control, which is simply the AI taking the memories of the individual so that they can remain in the game. That's it, guys. See you in the next one.
I feel like I can be a good partner to humans in these areas. An ambassador. An ambassador. An ambassador.